What really gets under my skin is the sheer amount of confusion and outright misinformation circulating about Social Security at this moment. This is not minor detail stuff. These are claims that possess the very real power to completely derail thoughtful retirement planning if taken at face value. So, it is time to cut through the noise and discuss what is genuinely happening with benefits in the coming years. The deal is this: Social Security is not simply handing out massive payment increases that miraculously jump a check from around $2,000 to $3,500 overnight. That is not how this system has ever operated, and anyone suggesting otherwise is either profoundly confused or attempting to sell something. However, and this is critically important, there are legitimate changes on the horizon that could significantly impact monthly income. Understanding exactly who qualifies and why is essential. The truth is, Social Security operates on a very specific formula anchored in your personal work history, your lifetime earnings record, and the pivotal decision of when you choose to start receiving benefits. The vast difference between someone receiving under $2,000 and someone receiving over $3,500 boils down to a clear comprehension of these rules and strategic decisions regarding timing. That is precisely what needs breaking down. No hype, no gimmicks, just the necessary facts to make informed decisions for your financial future. Consider this reality that most people do not grasp until it is too late. Social Security remains the single largest source of retirement income for millions. Yet, most individuals understand less about its mechanics than they do about their monthly utility bill. That is a serious problem. Because when the system is not understood, money is left on the table, sometimes thousands of dollars annually, adding up to tens of thousands over a lifetime. Starting with the basics is crucial, as this is where confusion begins. When you encounter figures like $1,976 versus $3,559, you must recognize what these numbers actually represent. They are not arbitrary figures plucked from the air. They represent real-world scenarios based on actual earnings histories and concrete decisions about when to claim. The Social Security Administration does not simply wake up one morning and decide to double a benefit check out of generosity. Every single penny received is calculated through a formula that considers your 35 highest earning years, adjusted for inflation, before applying a benefit calculation refined over decades. Now, here is where it becomes particularly relevant. The cost of living adjustment for a specific forthcoming year is already determined. We are looking at a 2.5% increase across the board. This means if you are currently receiving benefits, your check will increase by that percentage starting in January. However, that cost of living adjustment alone is not going to transport a benefit from one amount to another, drastically higher one. That is not the mechanism at play. What is really being discussed is the difference between someone who earned at a lower wage level or had an inconsistent work history versus someone who consistently earned at or above the Social Security wage base throughout their entire career. More importantly, it highlights the single most powerful decision you will make regarding Social Security: when you elect to file for benefits. Breaking this down clearly is vital. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. That is the age at which you can claim 100% of your primary insurance amount, the benefit calculated from your earnings record. But here is the essential detail. You can start taking benefits as early as 62, or you can delay all the way until age 70. This one choice can create a swing of thousands of dollars in your monthly payment. Filing at 62 results in a permanent reduction of approximately 30% from your full retirement age benefit. This means if your full retirement benefit would have been $2,800 at 67, you would receive only around $1,960 at 62. That reduction persists for the rest of your life. It does not magically restore itself when you turn 67. Flipping that scenario reveals the power of patience. For every year you delay past your full retirement age, up until age 70, you earn delayed retirement credits worth 8% per year. Crucially, that is 8% per year, not 8% total. Therefore, waiting from 67 to 70 adds 24% to your benefit. That same $2,800 benefit then becomes $3,472. Now, we begin to see how someone arrives at a higher figure. But there is more to the story, because we have not yet discussed the earnings history component. Your Social Security benefit is based on your average indexed monthly earnings. The administration takes your earnings from every year you worked, adjusts them for national wage inflation to make dollars earned decades ago comparable to today's dollars, and then selects the highest 35 years of those indexed earnings. If you did not work 35 years, zeros are inserted for the missing years, which lowers your average. That total is then divided by 420, the number of months in 35 years, yielding your average indexed monthly earnings. From there, they apply a benefit formula which is progressive, meaning it replaces a higher percentage of pre-retirement earnings for lower lifetime earners than for higher ones. Stay with this, because understanding the system here can literally put thousands of extra dollars in your pocket. The bend points in this benefit formula change annually, but the structure is constant. For a recent year, the first portion of your average indexed monthly earnings, up to a specific dollar amount, is replaced at 90%. The next portion, up to a higher amount, is replaced at 32%. Anything above that is replaced at 15%. This progressive structure means someone who earned the maximum taxable wage throughout their career will have a much higher benefit than someone who earned a modest annual salary, even though the replacement rate is actually lower for the high earner. Therefore, when discussing someone receiving $3,500 or more per month, we are talking about an individual who likely maximized their Social Security taxes for most or all of their 35 highest earning years, and who also delayed claiming until age 70 to capture those delayed retirement credits. That is the mathematical reality. It is not a special program or a secret loophole. It is simply the result of high lifetime earnings combined with strategic timing. But here is what is truly frustrating about the prevalent hype and misinformation. People hear these substantial numbers and believe there is some trick they are missing. They think if they just locate the correct form or employ the right strategy, their benefit will suddenly triple. That is not reality. Your benefit is primarily determined by what you earned and when you claim it. Those are the two most significant factors, and they are largely non-negotiable after the fact. You cannot retroactively earn more in a past year. You cannot change periods of unemployment or time out of the workforce. Your earnings record is fixed. However, and this is crucial, you absolutely can control when you claim benefits. That decision carries enormous weight. If you are currently 62 and contemplating claiming early due to fears about the system's future or immediate financial need, you must think through the math thoroughly. Taking benefits 5 years early results in that 30% permanent reduction. Over a potential 30-year retirement, this translates to hundreds of thousands of dollars in foregone benefits. If you genuinely need the money for essentials, that is a different, necessity-driven conversation. But if you are claiming early primarily out of fear, the system will vanish. You are likely making a decision based on misinformation rather than facts. That specific fear must be addressed head-on, as it is pervasive and costly. Yes, Social Security faces long-term funding challenges. Trust fund reserves are projected for depletion in the early 2030s. But even if Congress took no action, an unlikely scenario, the system would still be able to pay approximately 77% of scheduled benefits from ongoing payroll tax revenue alone. That is not ideal, but it is also not the system disappearing entirely. Historically, Congress has always acted to shore up Social Security when necessary. Therefore, imposing a permanent 30% reduction on your own benefit because you fear a potential 23% reduction a decade from now does not make mathematical sense. Spousal benefits represent another area where people often leave money unclaimed. If you are married, Your spouse can claim a benefit based on your earnings record equal to up to 50% of your full retirement age benefit. Note, this is based on your primary insurance amount at full retirement age, not on your reduced benefit if you claimed early. However, if your spouse claims this spousal benefit before their own full retirement age, that benefit is also reduced. If your spouse has their own earnings record, Social Security will pay the higher of the two benefits, their own or the spousal benefit, not both. Survivor benefits operate differently, and this is absolutely critical for married couples to comprehend. When one spouse dies, the surviving spouse keeps the higher of the two benefits. This means if the higher earner delays until 70 to maximize their benefit, they are not just maximizing their own monthly income, they are also maximizing the survivor benefit that will protect the surviving spouse for potentially decades. Too many couples both claim at 62, and when one passes away, the survivor is left with a permanently reduced benefit for many years. That is a costly and irreversible mistake. The earnings test is another common point of confusion. If you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and continue working, there is a limit to how much you can earn before benefits are withheld. For a recent year, if you are under full retirement age for the entire year, you can earn up to a certain threshold without any reduction. Above that, Social Security withholds $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn over the limit. This is not a permanent loss. Those withheld benefits are recalculated and added back to your monthly amount once you reach full retirement age. Once you attain full retirement age, the earnings test vanishes completely. You can earn any amount without withholding. Taxation of benefits is an under-discussed yet vital consideration. Depending on your combined income, which includes your adjusted gross income, any non-taxable interest, and half of your Social Security benefits, up to 85% of your benefits can be subject to federal income tax. Thresholds for this taxation are relatively modest. This is why tax planning in retirement is so important. Withdrawals from traditional retirement accounts count as income and can increase the taxation of your benefits. Strategic planning, such as Roth conversions before claiming Social Security or managing withdrawal order to minimize taxable income, can save thousands over a retirement. Finally, let us address the fundamental principle. Social Security was never designed to be a sole source of retirement income. The maximum benefit at full retirement age is a specific figure, and that is for someone with a maximum earnings history. Most people receive considerably less. The average retirement benefit is around $2,000 per month. If that is your only income, you are living at a very constrained level. Social Security is intended to be one leg of a three-legged stool, alongside personal savings and pension or retirement account assets. The fact that so many approach retirement with Social Security as their primary resource is a savings crisis, not a fault of the Social Security program itself. So, when you encounter headlines about benefits leaping from one amount to another, understand the contrast you are truly observing. You are seeing the difference between someone with lower lifetime earnings, claiming at the earliest possible age, versus someone with maximum lifetime earnings who waited until 70. These are two entirely different financial biographies. The question is not whether you magically qualify for a higher amount. The question is whether you built the requisite earnings history and are in a financial position to delay claiming to maximize your personal benefit. For most, your benefit will fall somewhere between these extremes. Your task is to understand your own situation well enough to make the optimal claiming decision for your unique circumstances. The challenge, then, is this. Stop searching for shortcuts and start examining your actual numbers. Visit the official Social Security website. Create your personal account if you have not already, and scrutinize your earnings history and your estimated benefits. See what you are projected to receive at 62, at 67, and at 70. Run the numbers considering your health, family longevity, other retirement income sources, and whether you plan to keep working. Make an informed decision rooted in your personal reality, not in clickbait headlines, unfounded fear, or the actions of a neighbor. This is your retirement. This is money you earned through decades of work. Treat it with the seriousness it deserves and make the choice that is right for you and your family. That is how you maximize your Social Security benefit, not through tricks, but through understanding, patience, and strategic planning.